Robert Oberst made the comment that unless you are competing, deadlift is not worth it. Like pro athletes don't deadlift, they power and hang clean. Your opinion on this? I think the deadlift is a tool like any other. I think people, that was a while back on Rogan. I think people are making too much of a big deal about it. If you don't want to deadlift, then don't deadlift. Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Right? What's your goal? There are many, it's not like if you don't deadlift, you're not going to be able to develop the same muscles. I will tell you, I have not deadlifted in a while. I just haven't. Am I weaker? No, I can fucking do kettlebell swings with like a 150-pound kettlebell. Like my posterior chain is totally fine. My deadlift, I've actually picked up a bar. I haven't done like focused deadlift sets, but I've had a lot of weight on the bar for other things and I like lifting it up. I feel strong as shit in a deadlift. So it depends on the application. I think it's useful. I mean, it's also depending on how you're doing it. Does it matter if are you doing 1 rep maxes all the time? Are you ego lifting or are you using it as a functional? A lot of people deadlift with shit fucking form. And I'm not talking like this fucking sumo deadlift bullshit. Like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Anyone can pull, pulling 600 pounds like an inch off the fucking ground. It's like, come on. But it depends on why you're doing it for. Are you deadlifting just to deadlift? But there are many, if you're trying to overload the body, so there's different types of overload and like systemic overload. There aren't a lot of exercises that's pretty much the only one. You're gonna be able to deadlift more than you can squat in most cases. So providing that kind of like neurological overload on the body, that's one of the exercise where you can really overload to that capacity. But a lot of people are high risk for any exercise. So if it's like, oh, well, deadlifts are too high risk for people, it's not high risk if you are trained properly and those muscles are strong and conditioned for that weight. So the weight is actually irrelevant. 500 pounds, 200 pounds. If you can handle the weight, you have good form, you warm up properly, and you're executing it well, it's not a high risk movement. If you're going too heavy, if you're pushing it, doing a 1 rep max, you're not recovered properly, you don't have great form, like, yeah, a lot of things would be risky if you're not doing them properly. So if you're conditioned for an exercise, it just depends on why you're doing it. Is it necessary? You'll see a lot of guys on TikTok or Instagram that are pulling ridiculous weight, but they look skinny. They don't look strong. They don't look muscular. So are you just trying to be strong or do you want to look apart? Are you doing for strength or you want to do it for bodybuilding? You don't have to have a massive deadlift to build muscle. So I'll say it again. It's just a tool in the toolbox. It's a very fundamental movement, but you could do sandbag work. Like that's probably even more realistic and more challenging. Just picking some dead weight up off the ground. It's even lower. They have like the Atlas, balls are getting underneath. It's more mobility. You don't have to go as heavy and it's more mobility and in some ways functional. So you can lift things off the ground. You can lift dumbbells off the ground, carry the groceries, do farmer's walks. So there's other things to train your posterior chain. But I think if you're conditioned and have good dynamic posture and you're doing it within a proper programming and you're doing it well, it's just as the same amount of risk as any other exercise. Just because your lower back, most people have weak glutes and poor mobility and they hurt their lower back. The lower back is the center of the fucking body. So most people are weak and frail and imbalanced. So most people are going to have issues there. Most people are impaired. Most people are fat. Most people are unhealthy. So people see someone deadlifting. Oh my God, my back could never. No shit, because you don't train properly and you don't fucking take care of yourself. Of course your back can never. So I think that's just his opinion. And it seems to he's strong. It seems to work well for him for what he wants to do, but a lot of people would do deadlifts. This is the beauty of exercise, right? This is a beauty of training is you find what exercises do best for you. For me, I haven't been doing a lot of heavy squats either. I haven't been doing a lot of heavy squats. I have been doing squats, but I've been doing very specific types of squats to hit certain body parts, higher repetitions, pushing them more towards failure. And I've been getting amazing results from a strength, from a joint stability, joint mobility, muscle hypertrophy. I feel fantastic. I'm not throwing 3 and 4 plates and trying to go as heavy as I fucking can. That's not my flow right now. So these are all like doing kettlebell swings. It's much safer, in my opinion, to do heavy kettlebell swings. I prefer to do heavy kettlebell swings than to go heavy squats. One, I'm training by myself, so without a proper spotter. Two, like I just honestly, in many cases, I don't like the. There's just it's a lot. It's high risk. It's high risk, and you don't have to go to your 1 rep max. So you can go heavy for squats and still you can go heavy. It's more important to go towards failure. So you can go heavy and do like 10, 15, 20 reps for squats. And if you've never done sets to failure, high fucking reps on squats, you've never unlocked the true potential for your fucking legs. That's brutal. And that's more psychological than it's physical. So all these things are tools. And I think the beauty of training is that if you're consistent, if you're focused, if you're a student of your body, if you're a student of training, then you can navigate and figure out which exercise work best for you. There are exercises that I'm going to do that other people won't. And there are exercises that they will do that I won't. Does that make them good or bad? A lot of people don't do steel club and mace. Do I think they're missing out on mobility and joint strength? Yeah, but maybe they don't like it. They don't want to do it. So they're not going to do it. Okay. It doesn't really matter what other people do. So in terms of grip, like you're going to find certain positions and certain exercises, and you can all drop your favorite or whatever preferred exercise in the comments, but you're all going to have a certain chest exercise. Like, oh, I love flat bench with a bar. Oh, I love dumbbells. The bar never really feels great for me, but dumbbells crush. Does that make bar terrible? Does that make dumbbells terrible for the other person? No, it's a different way of doing something. You might love band presses and you get a lot of results and great growth from doing super heavy bands because you anchor. You don't know unless you try it. So I think people are making too much of a deal. Like, oh my God, he says don't do deadlifts. Well, one is his opinion and he's welcome to it. And it seems to work well for him. And if he doesn't want to do deadlifts, does that mean that you can't? Of course not. So who fucking cares?